History Inside a Nutshell, the show where we sail into our port of call discussing maritime history. Now, I don't have much pictures for this video, so some of them are going to be repeats, so I do apologise for that. Today's video is something that really caught my attention from the very beginning, well, for about a few months, and this was because of Jake yet again. And this is a very special one because even though I wasn't part of the Scouts, I was part of the Girl Guiding Association. And when I found that there was a connection between the Scouts and the Britannic, I thought, yes, I should go for it. And even though he put the idea forward, Jake has also agreed to narrate once again. Jake, thank you so much for suggesting the video and for narrating as well. And until then, I hope you enjoy the untold story of the Britannic's Boy Scouts.
HMHS Britannic's Boy Scouts. In November 1916, the White Star vessel, the HMHS Britannic, sank off the coast of Keir Island after an explosion which resulted in the vessel sinking and the loss of 30 people. However, more than 1,030 were saved. 11 of those that were saved were the Southampton and Liverpool Scout Boys and the men who heroically did their duties during the sinking of the Britannic. But why were there scouts on board the HMHS Britannic? To answer this question, we need to look into the history of the Scouts Association itself. In August 1907, author and soldier Robert Baden-Powell, known for becoming one of Britain's popular heroes during the Second Boer, formed a trial camp on Brownsea Island off the English coast of Poole. This camp aimed to give boys important life skills such as camping, how to throw a life-saving rescue line, how to make a camp balloon for camouflage and play a variety of games. The successful trial camp would later become the foundation of the Boy Scouts Association. When the First World War began in 1914, Scouts were asked to take part in the war effort by helping to care for the sick and injured men of the armed forces, working as stretcher bearers and performing basic first aid. Two of those districts that took part in the war effort were the 2nd Southampton Shirley Scouts and an unnamed Liverpool troop. On board there were 2 patrol leaders, though there was one listed as a member of Britannic's crew, an assistant instructor and 9 scouts. It is reported that the youngest scouts were 12 years of age and the eldest scouts would have been either 16 or 17 years of age. On the Britannic they performed a variety of voluntary roles such as orderlies, signallers, lift boys, captain's servants and messengers. The scouts on board were O.B. Coe, H. Cook, V. Bowles, R. Boutler, Percy Dixon, Edward Ireland, Victor Mackenzie, George Pearman, Henry Pope, J. Price, James Victors and Leslie C. Walters. It isn't known when they signed up for the Britannic, but what we do know is that none of them expected the dangers that were set to follow. On the 12th of November 1916, the HMHS Britannic left Southampton docks for the final time. As she headed towards her destination, Athens, on her way the vessel made a brief stop in Glypita and a refuel in Naples. However, while in Southampton, the Britannic became a replacement vessel to travel to Greece, as another hospital ship, a Cunard liner, the Aquitania, had been damaged in a storm. Since she had to be repaired, she wasn't in a fit condition to sail. When the switch was agreed, the Britannic made her way to her destination, which would have taken her a few days. On the morning of the 21st of November, the Britannic was passing through the Kiel Channel, when at 8:12 am she collided with a mine that was laid by the German submarine U-73. When the vessel was struck, the impact blew into the Scouts' quarters, likely located on E-deck. Luckily, the Scouts were on duty at the time. When George Pearman felt the explosion, he went up on deck and was given a spare life jacket by one of the crew members. While remaining on board the Britannic, he worked inside the vessel's lift to help passengers find their way to get to the upper deck. Pearman boarded a lifeboat, possibly Lifeboat 4, though it isn't clear which number he was on. The lifeboat got caught in the suction and was pulled into the turning port propeller. However, he quickly grabbed a hanging davit line and held onto the line until he lowered himself into the water. Despite escaping the ship safely, Pearman's hands were burnt by the rope. Henry Pope and J. Price decided to remain on the ship to collect small articles belonging to the passengers and remained on board for the first 30 minutes. Victor Mackenzie was ordered to sound the Britannic steam whistles, though it's not certain how long he was on board for, or which lifeboat he was on before escaping the Britannic. Edward Ireland, the patrol leader for the Liverpool Scouts, was on the bridge when the explosion occurred. Throughout the entire sinking, Ireland remained at his post. The captain, Charles Bartlett, gave Ireland orders to be released from his duties, but he disobeyed Bartlett's orders and continued telephoning the captain's orders to the rest of the crew. Then at the stage of the final plunge, Ireland obeyed Bartlett's orders to be released alongside one of the 5 quartermasters on board. The Britannic sank within 55 minutes. All 17 Boy Scouts had survived the disaster. However, Pearman had likely suffered from PTSD, as his family said that the disaster affected his growth in later life. When the HMS Scourge and the HMS Heroic picked up the survivors to take them to Athens, the Scouts were taken to the Greek brand of Greek Boy Scouts branch, where they were entertained before returning to Southampton. Upon their return, the Scouts received high praise for their conduct from Bartlett, who said without exception all the boys behaved splendidly throughout. Outside the crew of the Britannic and in a personal letter, Robert Baden-Powell wrote, "All accounts agree that the whole of the Scouts showed the greatest coolness and discipline in the face of danger. Their conduct reflects the highest credit on them and will gain the admiration of their brother Scouts throughout the Empire." The Scouts were also presented with a certificate and a pocket compass. Ireland was awarded the Cornwall Badge for Corps. In the aftermath of the Britannic disaster, and by the end of the First World War, over 10,000 boys enrolled on the Boy Scouts. The Scouts also undertook many national service tasks during the Second World War, repeating the events that happened during the First War. Today, more than 57 million young people and volunteers have joined the Scouts worldwide. There are no records on what happened to the Britannic Boy Scouts except Edward Ireland and George Pearman. Ireland died in a flying accident in the summer of 1919 after joining as an observer within the airship training wing at RAF Cornwall. Pearman went on to become a vicar before passing away on his 100th birthday in 2000. The story of the HMHS Britannic Boy Scouts is one of thrilling but tragic adventure. All the young boys who witnessed the sinking must have been affected, but the war had a positive impact on the association, as there were boys and now girls who wanted to join in. It is hoped that by retelling this untold story, the Scouts would help more young people join the association, appreciate the work volunteers and participants do in both war and peacetime.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe for future videos. Until next time, this has been History Inside a Nutshell, departing from the dogs. Thank you so much for all of your support and enjoy the rest of your voyage.